Hi, Nancy. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yep, I can hear you perfectly.
Perfect. Great to meet you. Let me know how I can help.
Yeah, definitely. Appreciate you jumping on the call. I know that you are mainly in the tech space. I work in inside sales for a biotech company, so on the medical veterinary side. But I thought, I'd take the opportunity to just kind of pick your brain on kind of where I'm going with my career. I took a step down in my current role from a commissioned sales role for the opportunity to work my way up at this company. And just a little like context for you, the company that I work for is like the leader in the industry. They're like the Apple or Google, huge into R&D, and there's a lot of opportunity to grow. But I'm currently waiting for like a bonus sales role where I have a dedicated territory to open up. But it is kind of just a waiting game, depending on, what like movement as far as like positions go in the company and what territories open up basically. So I'm coming up on almost a year at the company and I can't decide on if I still, want to try to grow in sales or if I want to try my hand in another department. And then I also have this side thing where I want to kind of try to be like a content creator and, share like my outdoor adventures and travel. So just kind of career like mentorship. So, not sure if that's something in your wheelhouse or something you'd like to discuss, but, saw the chance to have a little bit of time with you. So figure I'd give it a shot.
Well, Nancy, look, I can hear already you've got great energy, a great way about you. Tell me this, if out of all the things you just described, you could only do one of them for the next 12 months, which one would it be and why?
Well, that's a really good question. I like the stability of the corporate life. And if I could grow, my income, that would be huge. But on the flip side, if I could pursue content creation, that would be amazing. But, you do need, something to fund that lifestyle and, have a house and a mortgage. So I'm kind of at a crossroads. But in the, I guess, immediate 12 months, I'd probably focus on growing my career and my income and then, look at content creation as still a sort of a side thing.
So content creation is the passion, but you can't see a path to monetizing it quickly and effectively enough for you to feel confident about doing that in the immediate term.
Definitely. And I know that I do have a talent in sales. My degree is in marketing and I've, done fairly well in sales. So, it's sort of like, well, you can follow your passion, but, it's a big, if and when you'll ever be able to monetize it. And my goal isn't necessarily to monetize it. I'm trying to do it because that's, what I enjoy doing, versus like the end goal of monetizing. So, and then I've also like played with the idea of, possibly getting into tech sales and, switching fields. So, the veterinary industry is a strong, tight industry. Like, when COVID happened, like we only got busier, my prior company, but I know that like there's a lot of income potential on the tech side. So I had a little taste of it when I worked at Gartner for a little bit, like straight out of college. So
Absolutely. Well, no doubt SaaS and tech sales is the place to be. With that said, when we look at your scenario, this is almost that blend between passion and purpose, and then just the reality, as you say, of the responsibilities that you have. So when we start to break this down a little bit more, when we look at your sales career and the sales side of the house versus the content creation, just tell me a bit more about what type of content creator you want to be. What's the vision there? How are you helping people?
well, I'd be helping people with sharing my passion and hopefully create entertaining videos. Last year I was super sick with COVID and I was on medical leave and stuck at home and I went down this crazy rabbit hole of van life. And I got, obsessed with it and thought, man, this would be like so amazing if I could, travel and go to all these, great parks and outdoor places and document everything. But I just couldn't see that happening because, a lot of van lifers, they're paying rent and then they go do van life. Like I have a mortgage, I have a house. So, if I could, create enough views and interest on YouTube to fund that lifestyle, that would be great. But at the same time, you're on YouTube yourself, so how many views and how successful you have to be to replace, income and like benefits from a huge, corporate job. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. So here's what I'd say, Nancy. I think that any role that you choose to take, or if you go down the path of corporate, it's got to be really for one sole reason, which is skill acquisition. Well, two reasons: skill acquisition and to support your brand to help transition for you to become a content creator. One of the things that we shared a lot in our vision, in the sense that I always knew there'd be a time where I wanted to transition to being a full-time entrepreneur, creating content, helping billions of people around the world. But I leveraged my corporate career to create more brand IP, right, and more notoriety, but also to acquire a set of skills that I knew would be incredibly valuable and transferable when making that move into entrepreneurialism. So I think that you've got to take a moment to think about, first of all, what skills will be helpful on the journey I need to go on as a content creator. Am I planning to build a small team? Am I looking to just be a freelancer? Do I need to improve my public speaking skills? So making sure that I get some form of exposure, and then try and marry the role in the sector to where it is that you want to be over time. The second strand that I would add to this is that not to forget that we only have one life and we get diminishing returns on every second of time. The moment it elapses, right? As we get older, we have less, vigor and energy to run at some of these things. So also don't wait, be urgent here. Monetizing things can be sometimes slightly more straightforward than you may anticipate, even with a really small audience. If you build a small, really well tight-knit, great group of people that just absolutely support you, you can start with things like consulting calls or inspiration calls where you just charge a fee to connect with people. Maybe you do a little bit of consulting on the side for companies in areas that you've built expertise previously. So there are ways and quicker routes to keep the lights on, maybe are clear right now, in terms of just relying on YouTube ad revenue, for example. I'll pause there. Is anything helpful in what I just shared there?
Yeah, I think so. Keeping an open mind and considering some of those other avenues and, using my corporate, full-time job to kind of build some of those skills. But yeah, I mean, definitely connecting with people. I mean, I think, a lot of those things kind of overlap. Sales is, big in relationships and connecting with people. And, a big part of YouTube is, having that personality and, delivering value, to the audience, and kind of the same way you'd be delivering value in sales. So I definitely agree with what you said.
Absolutely. Yeah, I just think that you clearly got the passion on the content creation side of the house. But I appreciate always the challenge and nuance of keeping the lights on. But, the challenge with corporate is if you sit in it for too long in a scenario like yours, you can get cuffed by golden handcuffs for such an extended period of time that you don't end up following your passion. And I'd hate
That's
for
where I
that.
feel like, that's kind of where I feel like I'm at, where it was like I took my current role, telling the person who's interviewing me, who is now my current manager, hey, I am taking a step down. I am turning down a commissioned offer at another company in another field to take this role at IDEX. Number one, for health reasons. I was still rebuilding my health after COVID. But so that I can get my foot in the door, because my company does hire from, internal, but, I don't know if I'm shooting myself in the foot, like, going into another department like sales support or something like that. And, my boss deterred me from that, but then I'm kind of like, well, it sounds like it might be good or exciting to like get out of a customer facing role. So I'm basically just like at a crossroads trying to figure out, what am I doing with my life?
I completely get it. I mean, look, one thing you should certainly do, Nancy, if you haven't had a chance is check out our website, saasshift.com. That's SaaS shift.com, because specifically what we do is have a discovery call to learn more about your current situation and see if we can help you to transition into tech and SaaS sales. So if that is something you are thoughtful about, let's have that conversation, because we can certainly help with the speed run, put some money in the bank for a year or two, then transition. Outside of, a decision to actually move into SaaS sales, I think that, it's clear that it would be helpful for you to just earn as much as is feasible to earn over the next year or so, to then create that ramp to move on and move on quickly. So you do need to be in a space, in a segment that's going to give you the best possible return on investment on every hour of your time. And I don't know a ton about the veterinary space, but I'd be very, very confident that your earnings in your first year and beyond in tech and SaaS would eclipse what you would expect in from a veterinary-based sales
For
role.
sure. It's less paid. Like, it's like, pharmaceutical sales, but like just paid wildly less. Like, veterinarians earn less than human doctors. And it's a very different type of sales. Like, when you're selling, in tech, it's like this, this concept of a program. You're selling like a solution or whatever, and it's more complex. Like, on this side of it, it's like, hey, we have these diagnostic consumables, snap heartworm tests, capital equipment, in-house like chemistry analyzers, and then reference labs. And, you're calling on a very specific person, not 20 different potential positions at a company. It's, straight veterinarians or the practice manager. So, I had a little bit of a rough start at Gartner, which made me a little hesitant to try to get back into tech sales. But, when you hear about the income potential and just with all the exciting things that are going on in tech, despite, the economic downturn, it's still kind of like been in the back of my mind. So I kind of, it's like, you want to stay like in the same industry to like build on that for your resume. But then at the same time, I'm still kind of like, well, if I did give tech a chance now with the skills that I've built over the past like 5 to 10 years, like, could it be better this time around? And, just exciting to consider, but I don't know, if that would be a good move. I mean, in your opinion, obviously you're passionate about it, but I mean, what do you really think about somebody like me pivoting to like a whole other industry like that?
Well, I think that, the reality is, as I say, it comes down to getting the best return on your time. You can tell you've got a great manner about you, infectious energy. Clearly what you need is, you need a blueprint, right? You need someone to walk you through the journey, layer on the coaching and the education to actually set you up for success, because it is a different type of sale, right? When you're selling software and the type of sales stages you have to consider, it's even different to the experience you would have had at Gartner, where in reality you're selling information in a way. SaaS, you are selling a productized piece of software that can, command in some cases multi-millions of dollars. And so there is some nuance, but if you're looking for a segment that can give you the best ROI on every hour of your time, it's absolutely that. It's just, you need the coaching, the mentorship, and the education and the community, and then that sets you up for success. So, look, I think you have the DNA for it, but of course there would be a road to go down for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I definitely appreciate all of this, information, and you taking time on the weekend, and congratulations on your new company as well.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And as I say, we're happy to be helpful, but beyond that, it was lovely to speak to you. Please do keep me updated with your journey, and have a wonderful rest of your weekend.
Oh, thanks. You too, Alex.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hi there, Simon. Can you hear me?
I can hear you well. How are you today?
I'm doing very well. Thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, really good. Thanks. Saturday, busy day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, great to meet you. Great to speak with you, Simon. Let me know how I can be helpful.
Well, I saw your content online. Obviously, it's massive respect for what you've achieved and what you're doing and what you do on a daily basis and how you approach life. I'm a sports tech entrepreneur. who sells it on a SaaS basis. And really, it's just I love to speak with successful people who've been there, done that, and just sort of try and get some life advice and some tips, and perhaps down the line, fingers crossed, could potentially do business with in the future.
Awesome. Well, first of all, thank you so much for the support and the content. It really means a lot. So I'm very grateful for that. Tell me a bit about your story, Simon, and then feed that into where you'd like to start the conversation.
Yeah, not a problem at all. Well, my background is a mixture between sports and the military and technology. So I'm an ex-professional footballer here in Ireland. And then I made the transition. I sort of got to about 25 and I got a bit disillusioned with it all. So I wanted a physical challenge and a mental challenge. So I joined the Navy and then the Marines. That's whenever I picked up some expertise with the tech field. And then whenever I came back home, I saw that there was a massive gap. In fact, there was zero. Technology was ground zero for technology within sports, within football here in Ireland. So I built a proof of concept, and now we gained a pretty big investment. Now we're at clubs all over Ireland, and we've just got onto the mainland there with Hartlepool United. We're going to the Kidderminster, some Scottish clubs, and we secured a partnership with the largest ticketing company in Ireland. So we're now like sort of providing massively innovative products. Really, just any advice on sort of how you approached the scaling process, and really what you could maybe impart upon myself that I could bring in to, really make this to take this where we want to take it. Really,
tell me where you want to take it. Tell me a bit more about the vision.
I want to take it global. So at the moment, we do an offering, which means, for instance, clubs like Hartlepool United, they can't afford the same tech as what, for instance, Man United can, but we can provide all the same assets, but in a cost-effective way. But the next step for me would be, we want to produce an elite product that we can then go and challenge the companies like Urban Zoo, you're into like Manchester United and Rangers and Celtic, and take this global. To be honest, we want to attack Saudi football. We want to build like an elite product and make it scarce so it's not readily available, and try and really attack the places where there is massive finances, things like places like Saudi Arabia and Australia and America, and specifically like just like Canada as well, where again there's not massive tech within sports.
It's really interesting idea. And how much time have you spent, Simon, in each of these regions so far, if any?
Yeah, well, within Saudi, so we have a contact. Our ticketing partner provides the platform for Al Nassr, who Cristiano Ronaldo plays for. So we've made initial contact really with our ideas. But you know yourself in business, it's not about me going to a club and saying, here, we want to do this for you. It's more along the lines of, what do you want from a tech product? And we'll produce it. But yeah, it's very, very early days in them regions, Alex.
I understand. Well, look, to give you some things to think about, whenever I'm working with a company that's anywhere from $0 to $1 million or pounds in revenue, which it sounds like that's where you are at the moment.
That's correct.
Yeah. Really, there's one core focus that goes beyond anything else, and it's sales and revenue. One of the biggest mistakes I see from a lot of early stage entrepreneurs and business owners is that during that £0 to £1 million phase, they are focused on 50 different priorities. How do we grow globally? How do we create the best product? When in reality, you need to produce a V1 of something that is compelling enough, and you want to start selling it. And the reason I'm emphasizing that so much is through the sales, you'll get the feedback, you'll be able to engage with customers, you'll be able to start to build your network and develop and grow. And only once you're at that 7-figure mark, that run from £1 million per se to, let's say, 10 million, which is the next threshold, that's where you then want to start to be more thoughtful about product and solution and service and some of the other nuance that comes with that next step. So without being able to sit with you for hours diagnosing this, I would just say to you as a top line thing to consider is, before you get to any end of week or you get to a Friday, you look at yourself in the mirror, you look at your notepad and you say, what have we done to move the revenue needle? And that's got to be the first question you ask yourself before you ask yourself anything else.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. Well, I guess at the level that we are at in regards to the footballing pyramid, I guess we're always learning. But the major thing that we have learned is that there is a need. So at this stage that we're at, that sort of advice is really, really priceless, really. I listen to, I always read your content, and a lot of it just brings clarity to my thought in regards to put the work in, meet as many people as possible, and don't half-ass it. From a perspective of work ethic, I mean, I don't drink alcohol, I don't party, I don't do any of that. I literally am just, this is my baby, this is my sole focus as such. And yeah, every day is just about trying to take the principles that you would put out and that I have in myself, just to try and make sure that all the boxes are ticked in regards to effort, in regards to
Yeah, go on.
Sorry, no, after you.
No, I didn't want to cut you off. Sorry, I wasn't sure if you'd finished your sentence. But look, I think it's great to hear that you clearly have the desire and the will to win, which is half the battle. The second half of the battle then, Simon, becomes your ability to really play chess with everything that you do. Because if you think about yourself versus the next person, and let's say you and that other person both work incredibly hard, you've got the work ethic, you've got the drive and the desire, what's then going to separate you versus the other person? When I say playing chess, it's your ability to make the right strategic moves at the right time. Who makes more effective decisions, right? And that's what it then comes down to. And so if you know you're now in a position where you've got the work ethic, the drive and the tenacity, great, that's a box ticked. The next one you've got to be thoughtful about is, okay, when I wake up every day, am I making the right steps and the right strategic moves to put me in the best possible position to get a return on investment on every hour of my time? And the moment you're able to combine the work ethic with also that ROI on your time, that's where you really start to become unstoppable in what you do. So make sure that you're just taking the time to think about work ethic as well as, am I playing chess every day? Am I making strategic moves to move me forward as well?
Yeah, that makes complete sense. From an organizational point of view, for me personally, I guess that is vitally important, because I guess at the beginning I was trying to do everything, but now we've got the investment and we have all the engineers and whatnot. It has opened up a lot more opportunities for me just to focus solely on sales, and we've made a lot of money in a short period of time. So it is paying off, but it is, I guess, hearing your message there, it's, I guess Alex Mosey says, it's not about shouting affirmations in the mirror. It's about building a bank of evidence that literally shows that where we're going, we can achieve it.
Absolutely. There must be something in this Alex name, eh? But look, I think it's great, Simon. Please keep me updated with your growth and your progression moving forward. It sounds like you're onto something really exciting. It sounds like you've got, a good head on your shoulders from just a mindset standpoint. I think for you, as I say, it's now about playing chess, making the right moves, focusing on sales and revenue from this 0 to a million run. And please let me know once you hit that 7-figure mark. I'll be delighted for you. So if there was nothing else, happy to wrap up here unless you had anything else you wanted to touch on.
Not at all, Alex. Listen, I appreciate your time. I appreciate your content, and yeah, be cool to hook up in the future once we reach the 7-figure mark.
I love it. Have a great Saturday, Simon. You take care now.
Cheers, Alex.
Bye-bye. Hey, Danny, it's great to meet you. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you today?
I am absolutely wonderful. Let me know how I can help.
Yeah, so I recently broke into tech sales specifically, coming in as a sales development rep at a cybersecurity company. And I'm really just looking for more guidance and exposure to career growth and possible career paths. And then just any best practices or suggestions that you have to help me be successful.
Well, great. Well, first of all, welcome to the space. What inspired you to start a career in SaaS?
Specifically just the time freedom and flexibility with being able to work remotely. And then obviously the financial potential to help me create income to be able to invest for long-term legacy, long-term wealth.
That's great. I love it. As I say, it's great to have you in this space. And so tell me a bit more about your motivations, your goals, the vision that you have for yourself and your future.
Yeah, sure. So I really am looking to get involved in real estate. I recently got involved in real estate investing. So I have 2 properties so far, but I'm looking to invest in more. So that is one of the primary vehicles that the finances would help me to be able to fund. And then again, I've lived all over the world. I've lived in probably over 7 different countries. And so I would love to, currently I'm located in America. I would love to relocate to Central America and be able to live and work remotely from there full time. So those are kind of some of my goals that I'm working on.
Got it. Sounds fascinating. And this is your first time in a SaaS role and in an SDR role, correct?
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
And how long have you been doing it now?
I start on Monday, so -2 days.
My goodness. Wow, that's exciting. So you want my perspective on how you can make an impactful start, or was there anything specific?
Well, yeah, how I can make an impactful start, but also more so beyond the start, because the company that I've chosen, they have a really great onboarding process, a great team, a proven, training program. So I'm not too much concerned about that. Just more so trying to understand long-term possibilities and career growth there. So what are the opportunities, different ways that I could go, and then maybe some of the characteristics, like if a person has this type of personality or is interested in these types of things, then this is a possible career path that they could take within, the SaaS space.
Got it. And I'm about to respond to that. The only other thing I'd love to ask you is, if you were to describe your strongest characteristics and the aspects that you feel really make you thrive, just walk me through what they are.
Yeah. So I absolutely just love helping people solve problems. All of my work experience has been in one way, helping people and creating solutions for people. So I thrive on knowing that I'm being able to help others. I also love to develop other people and mentor them. I've worked a lot in managerial roles. So once I'm able to perform myself, I would love to be in a position to help mentor and develop others that are coming into this space and starting their career as well. And then just my tenacity. I think that's one of the things. I know a lot of people say that, but just growing up as an athlete, just all the things that I've accomplished in my life, climbing myself up from intern to high levels in some pretty big companies internationally. I know that I have the drive and the tenacity to go after it and make it happen.
I just want to, you can't go forward if you don't have a vision, if you don't know where you're going. You need a destination to know what you're working towards. And that's kind of where I am right now.
Most definitely. Really helpful context. And I love the way that you came alive when you started talking through some of those things. That was fun. So when we look ahead in terms of career options, in SaaS sales, in many ways, the world is your oyster. But for most people, they're typically going to go down one of two primary paths. One is the new business sales route, which is where you're just solely focused on new business, new logo acquisition, and bringing brand new revenue to the business. And that's really one track. And if you're to do that, the typical path would be that you'd go from being an SDR sales development rep like you're about to be on Monday, which is exciting, into an SMB account exec role, so a small to medium business. Then you tend to go into mid-market, then enterprise, and then companies sometimes have what they call a global role. And there's different names and incarnations of those things. But depending on your leadership appetite, what we sometimes see is someone may either break off from being an SDR to an SDR leader. Some people may break off either at SMB or mid-market or enterprise to be a leader of any of those teams. And then there's some who opt to go through the whole stack, right? So they go from SDR to AE to senior AE to enterprise AE, and then they choose to become a leader because they want to make sure that they've had exposure to all of the roles before they make that transition out. And there's not definitively a right or wrong. The reason for my questions was I was trying to understand what's really important to you, and subject to where you come out of that equation would dictate whether you chose to jump into leadership early or whether there was value in you building more of a breadth of experiences as an account executive, doing smaller deals and larger deals. And the only other piece I'll add to this is the other side of the coin is becoming an account manager. So some people will choose to go from being an SDR to an account manager, which is where instead of just focusing on winning new business and new logos, you're actually more focused on customer retention, customer satisfaction. You may be measured on things such as customer satisfaction rates and NPS scores, and focus on client retention. So some people find that they opt for the account management role, which generally is slightly less paid and people tend to feel it's less pressure, whereas the being on the new business side is arguably slightly more pressure, but more pay and a more dynamic role. So I'll pause there. Let me know if you've got any questions, but I hope that made sense.
No, yeah. So those are the things that I already knew, actually. So you're just kind of reaffirming that I know that I'm going in the right direction. I just didn't know if there was anything else that I was missing. So I'm familiar with each of those things that you just described.
Wonderful. Well, apologies if I just rattled off a whole heap of things that you already knew. I think the biggest thing for you coming new into this space is not only knowing the roles, but a lot of it is playing chess with your career, making the right strategic moves at the right time. So as much as you know the stack rank, it's understanding, well, when is the right time to adjust? When is the right time to potentially move company if necessary? Which company and role is going to maximize and accelerate your potential and your path to your real estate goals and beyond. And so it's great that you now have the acute awareness of where all the pieces are on the board. But then the question becomes, how do you now make sure that Danny makes the right moves at the right time to maximize your potential?
Okay. And what would you say are some of those characteristics or green flags to be aware of to know when it's time to make those changes?
Well, I think the big thing I often say is that you want to be urgent when it comes to your career. A lot of people teach this premise of you must do 3 to 5 years in a company, or at least, 2 years in an individual role before you can move on. And I actually did the opposite throughout my entire corporate career. I typically moved on and moved up very quickly, and it got me to a second line VP role very quickly in the grand scheme of things. I was one of the, youngest globally. And so when you look at that, what I would say is, first of all, be urgent. Second of all, be clear about where it is that you're trying to go. So it sounds like you are being methodical about your career, but, take the time to say, well, do you want to be a leader? And if you do want to be a leader, do you want to run a team of SDRs? Or actually, do you have a bigger vision for running a team of enterprise sellers? Or do you actually feel like you want to run a team of SMB sellers? Try and get that clarity as early as you can. And the reason that can be so powerful is because then in the organization, you work to get a career sponsor. And a sponsor is slightly different to a career mentor. A mentor gives you coaching, wisdom, and advice, a bit like I'm doing right now. A sponsor's job is to take you to where you want to go. They're the people that are in the rooms, having the conversations, making the decisions about who gets promoted, when and where. And so the clearer you are about what you want and why you want it, the easier it is to get a career sponsor that is in the right room. And then the more the urgency and momentum you have in your own mind can be facilitated within that business. And so those are the 3 pillars I would really spend time on if I were you.
Awesome. That makes total sense. Yeah. That's perfect that you described it that way, because that's exactly what I've done in previous companies. But it's just great to be reminded of, hey, same thing, finding you a point of contact, an advocate, someone that you can go to, a mentor, like you said, outside of your direct management, and just building those relationships, and then obviously just performing in the role.
You said it best.
Awesome.
One thing I'll leave you with is also just always think about how you can raise the bar. I mean, you sound like a bar raiser. You're ahead of the game. You're driving hard. But I remember one of the things that I did really consistently in my career was, without being asked to, I used to send the leadership team an end of week report on both my personal and professional progression. And that was always really valued within the business because it was something no one else did. And it meant that they were consistently knew where I wanted to go. I showed accountability. I was sharing lessons and growth. And I found that helped me get a lot of pay rises, rise really quickly, because it's also just something that no one else does. So it seems like you're ahead of the game on a lot of these things, but just something else that's tactical for you to consider and keep in your tool belt.
Perfect. That's awesome. Thank you so much for taking time out to speak with me today. It's been great information and just providing clarity, like I'm on the right track. But those extra nuggets that you gave, they really provided value. So I appreciate it.
It's a great pleasure. Danny, please keep me updated and have a wonderful Saturday.
Okay, you as well. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Take care now. Bye. Hi, it's Alex Elaine here.
How you doing, Alex? You okay?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm doing good too. Thank you very much for asking. I appreciate it.
Pleasure. Well, look, let me know how you're hoping I can be helpful.
Okay, yeah. So I've been looking to get into SaaS sales or sort of develop a career in sort of software as a service and sales. I've basically had I've been doing testing and sort of software testing for a couple of years, and then I was offered a position at a company, a Turkish company. I'm Turkish myself, and a CEO of a Turkish company approached me and offered me an opportunity to sort of help him start and establish his company in the UK, which is quite successful over in Turkey. So I agreed, and he pretty much took me on and said, I'd like you to sort of, my aims are to sort of make you the CTO in the UK, and I'm going to personally sort of mentor you into that position. And that sounded like an absolutely fantastic opportunity for me, so I took it. So that was in September. And then during the time that I was there, I pretty much did the role of pretty much an SDR, as well as a lot of other things. So I had loads of responsibilities. I helped out sort of the tech team as well. I got involved with the software developers. But on a major scale, I was pretty much reaching out to people on LinkedIn, by emails with a team from Turkey, and presenting the company and pretty much booking in leads for them. In February, unfortunately, the company had sort of some things happen over in Turkey with their contracts, and it affected their business quite sort of in a major sense. And I got a call in February saying, I'm so sorry, but we're not going to be able to continue our operations in the UK. We have to focus and try and sort of fix things over here. But, you know, when things heal, we're definitely going to get back in contact and like you to get involved. So I was pretty much put in a position with a day's notice, and I didn't have a job. This sort of led to a few things going south. I sort of couldn't stay the place that I was staying anymore. I had to move sort of back in with parents and find myself a temporary job to pretty much, well, get myself back on track and sort of float my bills. In that time, I was looking, I need to get back into sort of professional work. So I started searching, and it really made me sort of think, what do you really want to do? Because you've been doing testing, but that was just for an opportunity after COVID or during COVID that you got, which sort of helped you get to a place where, you know, you were making some achievements. This pretty much led me to finding out about sort of what career path I want to take, and my personality, my traits and everything. And I thought, okay, well, I wanted sales sounds interesting, but I didn't really want to just go into anything. I've got quite a techie background. I understand tech, software, all of that. I've worked with it in my sort of professional experience as well. And doing research, I found out about SaaS sales, and I was like, oh my God, this is me. Like, all of my traits, all of my natural self, it completely fits in within this sort of sector. So I started doing more and more research, and I found out that, yeah, SaaS is definitely something that I wanted to, SaaS and sales is something that I definitely want to go into. So I started searching, and obviously where a lot of companies where they're in it for experience, and I've had the struggle of, because I don't have the experience, I'm not able to sort of find myself a position or a company that I seem attractive to. So I applied to a few agencies, a company called Pareto. I don't know if you know about them. They pretty much take on graduates and people looking to go into sales, and they don't base them off of experience, but off of your performance on a assessment day. So I attended an assessment day. It was a virtual one for me. There was over 50 other sort of prospects there, as well as about 10, 15 of Pareto's assessors. And they picked out 12 people, and I was just being myself. There was a little preparation to be done. But yeah, they talked to me. They considered me to be a sort of successful candidate, and they decided to sort of try and help me. However, ever since then, there hasn't really been any opportunities which fit sort of the SaaS sales role. So I've been pretty much in a state of limbo, looking for jobs, looking for some advice, looking to get into that field, and to sort of just begin a career and just sort of explode in it. Pretty much, I'm ready. I'm proper passionate. I'm driven. I'm just struggling to get myself into a position or be seen or noticed, potentially.
Great context, well articulated. Talk to me more about what you're trying to achieve in your life, because you mentioned being hungry, driven, passionate. What are you doing all of this for?
So when I lost my previous job as the pretty much CTO mentee, I lost a bit of independence, and that was sort of devastating, sort of having to move sort of back in with my parents. I'm quite a success sort of hungry person. I just like to succeed and achieve and sort of get results and stuff. Which is where the notion of sort of sales came in, and then the software being my experience and my interest in it. I'm pretty much driven because I want to be independent. I want to be able to achieve sort of success in the sense of sort of I want to be able to do the things that I want to do. I want to be able to buy a house. I want to be able to. I'm really into cars, and I'm a crazy sort of car fanatic, and that's quite a financially straining sort of passion to be involved in. I want to be able to do that freely, and I just want to sort of get some satisfaction out of a job that I'm doing. In the previous positions that I've been in, excluding the last one, I haven't really been able to gain satisfaction out of my work. There haven't really been sort of real targets. There haven't really been sort of real sort of goals to chase after. It's just pretty much been testing or sort of customer facing sort of positions where there's not really targets or that sense of accomplishment or fulfillment. I'm looking for a job that I can pretty much gain my independence back with. I want to be able to sort of fund and sort of practice my passion in cars, I want to be able to get my own place and just get some fulfillment out of a career while I'm doing that, instead of just sort of being just any other cog in a wheel and just not being really not important, if that makes sense.
I got it. Well said. What's the dream car?
So I'm a big BMW fanatic. I love BMWs, absolutely crazy, and I like the classics. So I actually really want to get myself an E30. It's called an E30. It's a very, very old classic BMW. Yeah. I've currently got sort of an E46 M3. It's a 2003 car. It's my absolute pride and joy. And she needs some sort of maintenance and sort of work done on her, but I'm sort of financially strained at the moment and sort of feeling a bit held back. But yeah, it's BMWs all the way. I'm a BMW man.
Love it. Well, look, let's talk a bit about your situation. So ambitious, driven, hungry, clearly want to earn well, want to have infinite optionality with the cards. I get vision. The first thing I'll say is great choice in wanting to pursue SaaS sales. No doubt, best place to be, infinite upside with your earnings. I can hear you, the way that you talk, the way that you interact. You've got good raw DNA for this. With the right coaching development, I could see that you have potential. I can just hear that. So I hope that gives you some semblance of confidence. The challenge that you're having is very common. SaaS sales is a bit of a closed industry in a certain regard, in that it's not the easiest to get into without some form of sponsorship or mentorship, or someone who can, in essence, pull you over the fence. So that is often the case. What I want you to do, Emma, is think about your situation from the perspective of the hiring manager. So the hiring manager is in a position right now where, on average, they're receiving 200 applications per role.
Yeah.
Really, really think about that. So in that scenario, you've got to ask yourself, what are you doing every single day to be the one of the 200?
Yeah.
How are you doing something that sets you apart from the one of the 200? Because every single time you hit that apply button on LinkedIn or on Indeed, all you're doing is saying, hey, I'm another one of the pack.
Yeah.
You're not going to get seen. And so you've got to go and do something different. I did a podcast with someone called Laura. You should check the episode out. My podcast used to be called Elite Level. Now it's called On Target, but go and check it. And Laura's incredible because she made a decision that she was born in the US. She wanted to move to Australia, but she didn't know anyone in Australia and she didn't have any contacts there. And she, of course, didn't have a job there. So what she did was she spent every single day reaching out to people on LinkedIn, requesting coffee conversations. X percentage didn't reply to her, but she knew she'd always get a certain amount of responses. She knew if I send 20 messages, I'll get, 2 responses and 1 confirmation. And she just did that as a system every day. And then within a X amount of time, she was on a plane to Australia with a job. Then she decided she wanted to move from Australia to the UK. But she's like, well, I don't know anyone. I don't have any contacts, but I know I want a job in SaaS sales in the UK. So what do you think she did? She repeated her system. Mm-hmm. And what that did for her is she did something different, right? She set herself apart from the crowd. So that's the first thing I want to say. The second thing is a non-shameless plug that you need to look at joining my program. I created my program SaaS Shift for exactly this use case. I realized that SaaS sales changed my life. I wanted to do the same for many other people, but I realized the access was the challenge. So I created a program where we do the education, the mentorship, the coaching, the community, and the placement all in one program. So we educate you and then place you within 60 days. So it's a non-shameless plug because from what I've heard from you, this is what you need. So also when you wrap, check saasshift.com, schedule some time with us and we'll see if we can help you out.
Alex, I've actually seen it and checked it, and I'm interested in that. So I was in the process of reading up on the website and reading and watching the videos and stuff that you had put up.
Right.
before the call. So yeah, I'm definitely interested in the SaaS shift the program that you've got going on.
Was the advice I said before that helpful?
It was, and I have actually been doing something similar. So I previously, where there was job applications, any job application that I saw, I'd research to see if there's anybody that I can contact on LinkedIn, and I'll try and sort of call and contact and see if I can get through to people. If not, I'll see if I can get the number for the company and see if I can get through to somebody there. I'd also spoke to a recruiter at one point who pretty much gave me advice, which I have been following, and it's similar to what I've been doing, but just a little bit better. So I'm doing the role of an SDR to become an SDR in SaaS. So I have actually been for the last couple of days contacting and connecting with people and asking them for just some guidance, pretty much just to sort of get a 5-minute conversation with them. I've had a few people accept my connection, so 4 to 5 sales sort of VPs accept my connection, and I've sent them a message and just waiting for a reply. This started pretty much yesterday or the day before. So I've been doing sort of a similar stance, sort of tactic to try and get myself recognized, because just like you said at the start, I've been experiencing exactly that. When there's a job opportunity on LinkedIn obviously tells you how many applicants there are, and I always think, you know what, if I hit easy apply, or if I go to this website and apply, I am literally just one of these people, and my CV is not going to get looked at. Let's consider the fact that you don't really have any SDR experience, so straight off the bat you're already going bottom of the barrel. So my tactic was try and get on the phone, get actual conversation with somebody, so they can just hear who I am, and see if I can pretty much get a little give them an insight into me, and try and see if I can secure an interview. So that's what I've been trying to do. It's mainly recruiters that I get through to, and I've noticed recruiters like to promise the world, or try and sort of say that they can do X, Y, and Z, and obviously they've got their clients that they need to think about as well. So I haven't really had a lot of progress with them, or the right sort of opportunities come up. And I've been told a few times, the market isn't great. That's sort of a comment that I've been receiving recently, but sort of doing research, and I get sort of news sort of pop-ups on my phone as well, which pretty much say, that SaaS market is actually really good right now. It's booming. So just left in a sort of state of, I'm trying to get through to companies, so I'm getting through to recruiters. And my recent tactic is try and approach sales VPs and sort of sales managers to see if I can get a 5-minute conversation with them. The only issue that is that
because unfortunately I've got to move to the next call any second.
Yeah.
Remember that, reaching out doesn't just mean a box ticked. It's a constant A/B test. What is your messaging? What are you saying? What's your pronunciation like? All these things can mean the difference between success or failure. So remember that. Also, think about how are you adding value to the other side? You just only asking for time. Some people aren't going to receive that well, right? What about, how can you add value to that other person? Is there something you can take off their plate? Is there a way you can add value to their lives to warrant that? Create more of a trade scenario. So just think about that too. I'd love to continue this with you, Emma. I think you got a ton of potential. I've got to fly, but please keep pushing, because I'm absolutely confident you can make something special happen for yourself.
Thanks, Alex. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to try the SaaSshift.com as well, and put myself forward for that as well.
Wonderful. Have a great Saturday. Keep me updated. Cheers now.
Very much. Take care, Alex. Bye-bye.
Yeah, basically, I just saw your post today, and I know how you obviously did the plunge recently to kind of starting your own business, after doing different sales roles. Basically, I left my job at Spender with an AE, because I never wanted the AE role in the first place, but I guess I took it because I saw it as the only way to progress. And I took a step back, and I joined the startup, basically going back, almost a step back, or what a lot of others would think of a step back as being like the first BDR bet, with a long-term goal of like being like a head of sales development. But obviously the stage I'm at, that's quite a long goal, and I was just really keen to kind of get some insight as to how you'd set goals, kind of stay motivated on like a long path, and kind of a discipline when it comes to that, and really just how you avoid getting distracted and demotivated from your overall goal you're looking to achieve. That's quite broad, but just got me thinking when you posted. That's something I've been thinking about for a while.
Well, tell me a bit more about your story, Callum, because I read the note that you wrote where you said that you had burned out and you went traveling. So I'd like to hear more about your story and then the vision that you have now that you've seemingly got on your 2 feet.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so I started out spending my first role in SaaS sales, and I became kind of eventually like really good at doing kind of outbound in the BD, and
Can
there
you
was
still hear me okay?
yeah, I can still hear you good. Um, Basically, it became to the point where in order to progress, I took a role which I knew I wouldn't enjoy, but I saw it, I guess, being my only route. I think often like the AE route is promoted being you have to do it almost if you want to progress. And I did it, and after 6 months or something, I just was coming into work every day and not wanting to be there. Really, my performance went down. I lost track of really what I wanted to achieve, and I just got to the point where my stress was through the roof, and I hated going to work, to be honest. So I took time out basically to go traveling, which is when I thought, what am I actually going to enjoy doing? You know, even if it's a step back in terms of maybe a role, I really wanted to have autonomy and build something. And I think that's when I thought about going back as like a BDR and progressing into, I really like sort of sales development and training others and everything like that. That's something I got to do little of when I became an AE. Just really hate my job, to be honest. And so that's when I kind of, joined Tactics fairly recently. And I think, again, it's going to be like a long stage, but I think it's the right path. It's just, it's a longer path, if that makes sense.
Got it. You got a fascinating story, Callum. And first of all, kudos to you for being able to find a way out of what sounded like a really tough time in your life.
Yeah.
I just want to revisit your question to make sure I can answer it as intentfully as possible. You want some advice around how to ultimately stay on track and be motivated and disciplined, especially when you have big visions and big goals for your life. Is that about right, or have I missed anything there?
No, I think that's right. It's really just, going from my first week, going from week 1 to 100 weeks down the line and keeping that same drive. Obviously, there's tough times all the time, but making sure I'm not thrown off, making sure I'm not distracted. And I think just almost making sure that I'm putting in place for myself the right steps to actually get where I want to go to.
It makes sense for sure. So a few things to think about, Callum, and to consider. The first is that for as much as you can in your life, create systems and standards of excellence. Now, why is that important? Because you are going to, we're always at risk of, let's call it decision fatigue, waking up and thinking about what do we need to do? Why do we need to do it? When do we need to do it? And you want to go through as much of your life as possible and systemize and create routines and operating principles so that you have this big vision, but you've already created a set of systems and principles and standards, which make sure that you take intentional steps forward towards it every single day. What you want to avoid is waking up and having to figure things out. So that's like the baseline of being able to sustain over an extended period of time. The other aspect to it is, I talk a lot about the premise of discipline over motivation, and that becomes increasingly important when you have a big vision for your life, because the reality is that, you've experienced burnout before. I experienced burnout before 7 years ago and never have again since. And part of that is acceptance that there will be days that you wake up and you just don't quite feel up to it, right?
Yeah.
I look at today, as I put that post out. I mean, I had 20 calls, but within like the first 30 minutes, I've had to try them down, and I've got another 18 today, right? And so do I sit here and feel like I'm excessively energized to do every single one of those? No. But am I going to get them done and put the same pace and velocity and energy into every single one? Absolutely, because that's what I'm committed to doing. And so it's the same thing with everything that you look at in your life. Some days you are not going to feel up to it. With the greatest of respect, it doesn't matter. You've got to get it done. And I'm not trying to push you in a way that means that, you know, if you're ill or you're sick or you can't do something, obviously you can't.
Yeah.
If you've built the right operating rhythm for yourself, you'll be okay, you know. So I'll pause there. I hope that's helpful initially.
Yeah, no, very helpful. I think that's something I've maybe struggled with in the past, is holding myself. I've often held myself to like the expectations of others, kind of not of my own standards, if you know what I mean. So I think it's kind of defining, I guess, what I define myself to be, you know, excellent each day. I'm working on that, you know, just whether about, you know, short-term goals or something. No, that definitely makes sense.
Absolutely. I mean, look, Callum, you've got to decide who do you want to be in the world, right? Who do you want to be in this life? And, you know, if you decide to live your life based on standards and expectations of others, you've got to accept that, you know, the mass majority of people in the world are not, let's say, successful by conventional definitions of successful. That doesn't mean they're not successful in their own right and in their own lives, right? There's different ways to define success, but if for you that involves certain financial goals and it involves certain lifestyle goals, then, you know, our job is not to follow the masses. In many cases, your job is actually to carve out a path so that other people start to look to you as the standard, not for you to look at your necessarily the people in your life now as the standard. So the more you can continue to get yourself around people that are pushing you, holding you accountable, encouraging you to raise the bar, the better your life will continue to become. And you'll start to find that other people in your life will actually start to raise their level of expectation based on what they see from you. But you may be in an environment right now, Callum, where you need to be the standard, right? So if that's the case, then grab that with two hands and get after it.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think just like that's kind of given me a bit of, like, for instance, one of the things where I wanted to set like a goal was I want to be kind of, I've got this idea I've had for ages in terms of like maybe one day having like some sort of SDR business or something, but in the short term, kind of building my own brand up on LinkedIn and, you know, posting kind of tips and, you know, getting into a cadence, posting regularly because it's something I enjoy, but it's something I've been put off by doing because of maybe others' perception or something, you know, like 5,000 people thinking, why this guy posting all the time, you know, but I think, like you say, it's holding myself to and what I see as the goal of that, you know, forgetting what all these other people may or may not think, you know, it's probably just going to hold me back.
Absolutely, Callum. I mean, look, you know, continue to network and build your circle. Honestly, it's one of the biggest changes you can make in your life. And doesn't mean you let go of everyone from your past, but you've got to have different people playing different roles in your life. You know, I remember the day when, you know, the thought of earning £50,000 a year was a dream to me. And then I got around earning 100,000. Then I was like, wow. And now, you know, I'm around people that, you know, I've got neighbors that earn millions per month, right? Yeah. So the expectation of what, you know, I could go on to do and achieve is it's got to evolve, right? And it's got to change. So the more, if you're in a situation where you've got people that are either questioning or diminishing your flame, please park that to the side. Believe in you, believe in Callum.
Yeah.
You've got all the talent, all the potential, I'm very sure. The fact that you're on this call right now says a lot about your mentality. Don't let anyone dim that flame. If you want to go and build the best SDR business that, you know, the country or the world's ever known, then you got to go and do that, right? But the only person that defines that is you. Anyone that slows you down, you've got to say, look, I appreciate you in my life, but I'm here to do something bigger, you know, and you got to get after it.
I've noticed that's really like, it's just sometimes good to have that from an objective perspective, you know, someone who doesn't necessarily know you, sort of, I guess, validate that, but also just, you know, push it. So that's given me just a bit of a boost. So yeah, thank you for that.
Absolutely. Well, Callum, get it done. Please keep me updated. Yeah. I'd love to know when you got a multi-7-figure SDR.
Sure.
I'm really glad we spoke, and keep in touch.
For sure. Thanks so much, Alex. Yeah, if you need any feedback at any point on doing this, just drop me a line, and yeah, I'm more than happy to do it. So yeah, thanks very much.
Appreciate you, Callum. Have a great Saturday.
Thanks, man. And you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Hi, Peter. Alex Elaine here. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, good.
Perfect. Great to meet you, and let me know how you're hoping I can be helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll get straight to it. I was followed you on LinkedIn. I'm quite a new sales leader, so I've got a team of 10 at the moment, so head of new business at a fintech. Essentially, we're entering Q3 with quite a ambitious target, but definitely achievable. We're pretty much halfway there, and I wanted to pick your brains about how, you know, what would kind of be the key priorities for you in terms of focus. So we've got 6 weeks left of the quarter, halfway to target. We've got more stuff to move to contract. I've got a team of high performers and essentially 2 weaker ones. So I really wanted to pick your brains about what your key priorities would be, what system you would use now to kind of prioritize your time to make sure we're essentially finishing the quarter strong.
Yeah, it's a great question. Just help me understand, if you were answering your own question right now, as in tell me what you are doing right now and what you are prioritizing. I'd love to hear your current way of working.
Yeah, absolutely. So essentially, like everything I've learned about revenue first. So I've got the list of deals which are going to plug our gap per rep. And we've got clear next steps, risk factors, how we're going to mitigate those. So that's the first priority. And then per rep, essentially, I have my notes, okay, how am I going to get the most out of them? We have got 2 weaker performers who we're having to mitigate their targets. So I'm trying to essentially push my stock performers with a few more deals, and they have got the pipeline to do it to offset that. And just for context, those 2 will be on a pip going September. But essentially, the rest we're trying to list of the deals, how we can get the most out of them trading wise, what's going to plug the gap, essentially. So that's kind of from both the people and revenue perspective is how I've tackled the problem so far. But I know there's probably a more effective framework that I could use rather than just say, okay, this is the skill gap, this is the deal gaps. It's probably a better way I could organize my thinking.
Got it. And just for my reference, in terms of the current framework, if any, are you guys leveraging any form of framework or criteria, or is this just based on your know-how and experience to date?
Yeah, so just based on my know-how, my team's quite fresh. I've had it for 2 quarters. They got promoted at the start of this year. So I've tackled the problem from basically a personal perspective, like people management, you know, getting the most out of them, and always obviously as a manager supporting them in the best way I can, and just, you know, these are the key deals, these are the risk factors. So yeah, there's no framework that I've used. I've more tackled it from revenue and a people perspective.
Got it. And just one other question: if I went up to your team independently and asked all 6 of them to walk me through the way that they operate from a sales excellence standpoint and from a overall prioritization standpoint and professional operating system standpoint, would they all be synergistic in their answer? Would they all share the same DNA and how they would respond to me?
Yeah, so we've kind of got 2 things we use as a team. So revenue generates tasks over everything. So that's meetings every day. So they're always prioritizing revenue generating tasks. And we essentially do lists. Okay, these are my revenue generating parts of the most of my time will need. And sort of a full kind of, we say our motto that we use training wise, which is outwork, out improve, out strategize, and outlast. So kind of that's the ethic of the team, and that's kind of how we work. So revenue generation first, and then we've got the kind of team pillars. So they would give you that answer if you ask them. That's kind of what I feed to them anyway, and they're on board with that. So yeah, that's kind of how we operate.
Okay, I understand. So this is what I'm hearing so far. What it sounds like is you've done a great job in being the inspirational leader and the being able to give them some form of semblance of what is important. So from a prioritization standpoint, it sounds like they will have some good initial rationale about how they should be thinking, how they should be prioritizing their workload. What it feels like to me is the next level for you and the team is for you to start to lean into the operational aspect of leadership. So when we talk about the systems and the frameworks, it's crucial because you need to have some form of operational barometer for what does excellence look like in terms of the way you generate pipeline, in terms of the way you structure your day, and in terms of the way you execute a deal. And with the absence of that, it's really difficult, one, to have accountability, but two, to create enough momentum and groundswell, especially midway through the quarter. So the question then becomes, okay, well, what can you specifically do about that? The first thing is to choose a proven qualification criteria or a proven framework for your execution. Don't try and reinvent the wheel at this stage. So for example, without me knowing the nuance of what you sell, you could take Medic, for example. Are you familiar with Medic? Yeah. Okay. So you could take that, for example, as a framework just to help you to create a uniform way that your team can leverage for deal reviews and deal inspections. So that will mean that they need to be able to deliver the metrics that matter in the deal, unpacking who is the true economic buyer in the deal, decision-making process, criteria, implication of pain, champion, and beyond. So that could be just an interesting thing for you to look at initially. But then I would say that the other part of what you need to spend time on is standards of excellence across those three categories that I described, but not at an inspirational level of these things are important, but very specifically, these are the metrics, KPIs, and operating standards that deliver this result. Fall below it, you're not going to get to plan. Overachieve, and you overachieve, right? So I'll pause there. How much of that resonates?
Yeah, I think that does resonate very well. So that's exactly where I want my priority to be now. So I think you kind of hit the nail on the head with, I've managed to take a team that the morale was very low when I took over. We now, we have a great activity level, kind of lots coming into work, and the inspirational side of it in terms of people management is there. We're always working on that. I need this practical framework where I would define exactly what excellence looks like in a category. And how I don't necessarily extend yet, but in terms of the way you described it, definitely a key priority. So I think that resonates really well.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Yeah, I mean, look, as with all of these things, there's order of magnitude, right? It's the same way if I'm talking to a rep and they say that they're, good at, or they need to establish pain. And then they come back and they talk about deal friction and they say, well, I established pain. And then I say to them, well, did you establish what I call felt pain? Because they say there's 3 tiers to the level of pain, right? You can have surface level pain, which is, this is a nuisance or a challenge for a business. Whereas when we're talking about felt pain, is it, are we talking about the depth and level of transformation that warrants a company investing 10, 50, 100,000 or even multi-7 figures? And there's a different way we have to go about extracting that and inciting that and implicating that within an account. And it's no different with what I'm talking to you about here. There's being an operator, and then there's being a true operator. And I think it's probably that evolution for you of going from level 1 to level 3.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And any other way I can be helpful before we wrap?
No, I think just, like in terms of our personal question for you, obviously, you achieved so much in your career. I probably linked obviously the journey. Is there any kind of key principles or characteristics that you have that you think have enabled you to do what you've gone to do?
Yeah, it's a great question. And first of all, thank you so much just for following in for the support. I really appreciate that. The reality is that from day one, I always had a grand vision. I never started my career with any level of comfort of being average, okay, or even great. I wanted to break records. I've always wanted to be number one, and I wanted to do things with consistent pace and urgency. And so everything that I do, over the years has always had that. And I think the biggest separation factor I've found is that everyone claims to work hard. You walk into a room of sellers and you say, who works hard? And everyone's going to put their hand up. So then it becomes a case of who can make the effective decisions, but also who is truly in the trenches when the wind is blowing and the rain is coming. And that's been the big difference for me. It's been that when it's raining, my running shoes are still on and I'm out there. When, all adversity is against me in a deal or with my career, I'm still on the field and I'm looking at it head on and I'm marching forward. And that vision I had from day one was so grand and so great that I was just absolutely relentless about getting there, and I said to myself, I wanted to achieve X, Y, and Z, and every single day I was maniacal about it. So it's not me giving you any secret. I think it's more the case of you sound like you're really astute, put together. I can just hear it. I can sense it. So now it's like playing chess with your career. Make the right move at the right time and just do more than anyone else is willing to. And it just makes the success piece and the pace of your career growth inevitable.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, I appreciate you running through that. And it's really good. I think food before that, certainly. I love it. Just working hard, but as you said, everyone claims to do it. You find out who the real hard workers are in times of adversity. So it's I really do appreciate you running through that, and there's definitely a lot of stuff for me to take away and try and implement. I really do appreciate that.
Absolutely, Peter. No, I think you sound great. Please keep me updated with your growth and progress, and thanks again for the support. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday.
Yeah, appreciate it, Alex. Take care.
Anytime. Cheers now. Bye. Great. Greg, can you hear me okay?
Yep, I can hear you.
Fantastic. Nice to meet you. Let me know how I can be helpful.
Yeah. I know you've been in SaaS sales for a while. The biggest thing I've been struggling with is becoming an account executive, just being consistent. It's one quarter I overpass quota, next quarter, I fall a little bit short, and I kind of want to know how you stay consistent throughout your career.
Understandable. Tell me a bit more about why you believe that you're inconsistent at the moment.
I believe it really comes down to pipeline, honestly. I found a lot of times when too reliant on one deal to get me to my number, I typically fall short, to be honest. When I have maybe 3 or 4 deals that could pop that would get me to my number, I'm better off like that than just having just one deal. If it doesn't come in, it's I'll be 80% instead of 105 or 110.
I see. So you believe it's a pipeline challenge. So then the question becomes, why aren't you generating enough pipeline?
Yeah.
That's a
Maybe
question
not.
I'm asking.
Yeah. If I have the right systems in place, I'd make sure I have enough pipeline all the time.
And why don't you have those systems in place?
Probably like, I think I'm probably just being inconsistent on that having the pipeline, like just the prospecting efforts, like making it a habit, like each and every month. Like I felt like I get like too many calls, like I'm not doing the prospecting, and then when I don't, then I got to restart.
What's your target, Greg?
For this month, 78K.
Okay, so you've got a target of 78K. How many deals do you need to win based on your average deal value to get to your target?
I'd say 2 or 3.
Okay, so you need 3 deals in a month to get to your 78K target. What is your current closing ratio?
Currently, it's at 18%.
18%. Okay. So in essence, you're closing 1 of every 5 qualified opportunities you touch, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So you need 3 deals to win. We know that you're going to need 15 opportunities for you to win 3. Now, how much outreach do you have to do to create 15 opportunities?
Outreach as far as like how many calls or how many like demos to get booked on the calendar?
You tell me.
So it typically takes me roughly probably about 50 calls to get 2 demos on the calendar.
Okay. Can you see why I'm asking you this, Greg?
Yeah.
Your challenge is that you don't truly know your business. You don't truly know your book of business, and you haven't taken the time yet to figure out your book of business. And until you do that, you can't have a system. And without that system, you will continue to be inconsistent. Right now, you are just doing whatever is in front of you day to day. You haven't taken the time to say, well, how many calls do I need to make of this particular type to drive this outcome, to get to this closing rate, to then drive this point of execution? The next strand is then looking at, well, if you've got an 18% closing rate, where are the gaps in my sales funnel to get from 18% to 30%? There's different numbers that you can massage to get you to your target. But until you know your numbers, you don't have a chance of diagnosing the problem and diagnosing all of the steps of your sales campaign to put you in a position where you can actually hit your plan. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense. That makes a ton of sense.
You need to now, when you go away from this call, you need to be an FBI inspector, an investigator on your own book of business. And you need to obsess over every single number from the moment you make your first call through your entire sales campaign. You need to document every single step. The more intimately you know your numbers and the more proximity you have with your numbers, the much better opportunity you'll have to become a best-in-class seller. Because what happens is your ability to become a great seller becomes part math and part characteristics. You want to solve for the math part, because then you're in a position where you know at any given time exactly where there's a bottleneck in how you operate, so you can solve for that. And then once you get to a point where you've solved for it operationally, we can then turn to things that are more characteristic based. For example, if you're making a cold call, we may then investigate your tonality or your pace or your flow to see if you can get some gains there. And so there's two big pillars, but you've got a long way to go on both pillars to then start to set you up for success. But hopefully now that you understand that holistically, you can start to make a difference on the operational side and then look at the characteristic side later down the line.
No, you really broke that down really well. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, no, that answers it to the T. It really is the numbers. I really understand the numbers down. I never went that deep.
Absolutely. Look, keep me updated, Greg. I'd love to hear more about your progress over time. I'm glad that that's helpful, and look forward to circling back with you down the line.
100%. Definitely appreciate the time out.
Absolutely. Have a great day, Greg. Bye-bye.
All right, you too.
Goodness, it's Alex Elaine.
Alex, so good to hear from you, bro.
How are you? You as well. Good to speak to you. Let me know, how can I help, Goodness?
Yeah, so I'm really just looking for like some inspiration, really, in my business and everything, and more in terms of like my work ethic, because I struggle to be disciplined with the work that I do. So I run a clothing company. So it's like I run a clothing company, and I need a bit of like help just with my work ethic, because sometimes I procrastinate and things like that, and I don't do what the work that I'm supposed to do. So I do have a schedule and a routine, but I don't know, like sometimes I still struggle to, just do the work that I'm supposed to do. So I really just need some, I don't know, like to change my mindset or some kind of coaching to like shift me to where I want to be, if that makes sense.
Got it. So talk to me, Goodness, about why are you doing what you do? What are your driving factors in life?
That's a good question. I started off doing it because, one, I enjoy it, so I have a lot of passion towards it. And also I want to help out my family as well, like give them a better life and things like that. But there is something more. I want to help people. That's something that's always been like in my heart, to be a service to people. So that's really what's been the drive behind it. So yeah, that's really my why.
So why is that not enough fuel to have you pressing forward every day?
I guess it's because of self-confidence. So I don't really believe that I can do it. I mean, because I've seen a bit of like failure in what I've done, and that's kind of like affected me, because it's like my self-confidence has like come down a bit, and I'm not able to like believe in myself again, if that makes sense.
I understand. And what's the biggest thing that's knocked your confidence?
Well, failure, like when I don't hit my goals, when I don't achieve my goals, it kind of affects me, and like I'm always like, oh, like it's me, it's my fault, and it just affects me really.
I understand. Okay. Goodness, let's talk this through. So you've got this grand vision for your life. You want to change the lives of other people. You want to help your family. You want to achieve great things. All remarkable. I love all of that. And I could feel a lot of that as you were talking through it. The first thing to bear in mind is that everything in life is about perspective. Nothing is inherently good or bad. So let's take a really, straightforward example. You're in a traffic jam, right? Now, most people are upset and angry and frustrated because they're in a traffic jam. That's person A. And person B says, I now have all of this extra time. Why don't I put on a podcast and learn something? Same thing when it comes to, let's say, quote unquote, a perceived failure. Person A says, I failed. This is terrible. I'm a bad person, I'm not cut out for this. And person B says, wow, I've just gained this brand new set of experiences that are going to make me hardened, more refined, more resilient, and have taught me a number of lessons that are going to help me to be more effective as I move forward.
Right.
Now, the difference between person A and B is not a birthright, it's a choice. It's a decision. It's a decision in that particular set of circumstances to choose either to be A or to be B. And right now, you are choosing to be A. And what you've now got to systematically work to do is, in every time you're in a scenario of that nature, you must choose to be person B. And the only way you're going to choose to be person B is to first be aware of it. Now that we've spoken, you're aware of it. And then 2, you've got to become incredibly intentional about being person B every single day. Every single day. You've got to change your identity, goodness. You've got to be a different person. You've got to change who goodness is by virtue of the standards of excellence that you have and the person that you look at every time you look in that mirror. And that change has got to start from right now.
Okay. So it's about a choice. I need to make that decision.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And look, I know I may make it sound easy, but the reality is that you've got to get the reps in now, goodness. You've got to outwork your lack of self-confidence. And the way for you to beat that is by being out on the field more than anyone else. You know, how do you get in front of camera? You get in front of the camera. How do you get good at cold calling? You start making cold calls. You've got to outwork this imposter syndrome by doing the reps, getting the mentorship, being on the field, making the decisions. And that's how you start to overcome this.
Yeah, because I noticed it affected other areas of my life as well.
Mm-hmm.
For example, right now I'm in the studio and like I'm doing rehearsals and like I'm supposed to be singing, but I realized that I don't have confidence in my ability to sing, and it was affecting me. And then I remembered about this phone call I'm having as well now. Even what you said about I need to make that choice, that decision, so I can also apply it into other areas of my life as well, which is cool.
Goodness, you've got just an incredible vision for what you want to do in this life. You've got to say to yourself that you've got to have an unquenchable thirst to want to go and make this vision happen. And if it's not for you, then at least in part make it that you've got a commitment to other people to go out there and make a difference. You know, you talk about the impact you want to have on the world. You know, you get a diminishing return on every second of your time because you've got one shot at life. And, you know, believing in yourself is the fine line between your greatness and where you are right now, you've got to say, I'm not going to let anything get in my way. Yeah. Believe in yourself, believe in your capabilities, believe in your greatness. Any setback is just a lesson. It's just another milestone on goodness's journey to realize and walk towards your greatness. Don't let anyone stop that. Don't let anyone change that. But more importantly, don't get in your own way. And right, you're actually getting in your own way because you're in yourself.
Yeah.
Get out your own way, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, because like even sometimes I know I need to do something and I'm supposed to get out of bed in the morning every single day. But the previous day was so tough, and like I'm playing catch up and I need to wake up and I need to get on with the day, but I'm like dreading the work and because like I don't believe in myself, but yeah, I need to pull my weight in and change that. To be honest, I know what I need to do. Is just I don't know. I can't summon the energy to like do it, and Yeah, it's been affecting me, but definitely hearing and feeling those words. I need to change.
Goodness, here's what I want you to do. I want you to create a whole new routine for your life. And when I say to create a whole new routine, I want you to come away from this call and go and write out a new morning routine, a new daytime routine, and a new nighttime routine. So this is exactly what you're going to do from the moment you wake up, how the things you're generally going to achieve on a typical day, and the things you're going to do before you go to bed. Some of the ingredients I want in there is meditation, it's exercise, it's getting the work done that you need to do, right? Day. It's some downtime at night, but I need a routine. And the reason I need a routine is because for us to outwork this lack of confidence, you've got to be in a position where whether you feel like it or not, your routine gets done. And the more you do your routine day in, day out, you will become more confident, you will become more disciplined, and you'll become more resilient. If you think of people who are in the military, the thing that many people confuse with them is they think that they're either born as these incredible people with their mindset, and that's absolutely not the case. I've spoken to people, I've read all of the books. They've got systems and routines which have bred them to be a particular way, right? You now need systems and routines to break these habits you have, to break this mentality you have, right?
Yeah.
You need to change your environment, goodness. You need to be around people that are going to hold you accountable. You need to be around people that are going to make sure you get your stuff done. So the two things I want you to do is to, one, create your new routine, which is your operating system. And the second thing is I want you to evaluate your environment and the people around you and ask yourself, are these people going to hold me accountable? Are they going to hold me to a higher set of standards and expectations? And if they aren't, I heavily encourage you to move and to put yourself in a situation where every single day your routine is enforced.
Okay, I can do that. I'll do that.
Yeah? Go and check out my YouTube. I've got a lot of videos on routine and the ingredients. It's the series is called Aston Martin Mindset. Go and watch the videos if you haven't seen them, and then put together your routine and promise me you're going to make it happen.
I will.
Please check back in with me because I want to hear how you're getting on. And if for nothing else, look, goodness, I believe in you, right? So don't let me down, but more importantly, don't let yourself down.
All right, thank you.
Yeah?
Thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate this call and everything. I know we just have a short time, but it means so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Have a great weekend now. You take care, okay?
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye.
Great. Can you hear me okay, Mohammed?
Yeah, perfect. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly. How you doing?
I'm all right, man. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Very well. Let me know how you're hoping I can be helpful.
Yeah. So I just I've been actually watching you for a while actually. I think came across I came across your Instagram where your store. I think you started and all, and then I think you built just sales agency you built.
You could refer to it in that way, more so of a program.
Program, yeah, the program where you really transformed your life, and I was inspired by you, so I thought I'd give you a follow. And I just thought I've just hit maybe a plateau in my life at the minute, so I'm serious. I've been working for a while, I've got some savings, I'm looking for a career change. To give you a bit of background by myself, when I was 17, going on 18, I started a social media marketing an agency, and I had Facebook ad as a service. That didn't go too well. Had a couple of clients and then didn't go too well, but I've got a skill of running marketing and Facebook ads and stuff like that. And then I ended up working in recruitment for a while, for 3 months. And I got stuck because I was just sick and found out. And then I started working in construction. And with that, okay, so salary of like 45 grand, which is decent, but it's not amazing. And I'm looking for career change really because the role that I'm in right now,
and what I want to do and skills I have is not matching up. Like I have a lot of drive and an ambition, and I've applied to a few roles in Dubai for a property sales and stuff like that. I'm just looking for career change at the minute.
I understand. Tell me about the vision you have for your life, Mohammed. So personally and professionally, what is it that you want to achieve, and who is Mohammed in the next 5 years?
So an interesting question. To be fair, when I was younger, I always set out to become a millionaire. When I was young, I just had that belief inside of me that one day I'm going to become a millionaire. And I've always done small ventures like in the past. And for the next 5 years, hopefully I'm financially free. I mean, I've got my own businesses. And the long-term plan is to set my own company, maybe in recruitment or something in marketing, and have it and build it out to a multi-million pound business. And the short-term plan is to be, I don't think I have the skill set because my income is not reflecting that. I think I'm good, but my income is not, it's reflecting that, if that makes sense. I think I like business but my income is not, it's reflecting that. So maybe I've got more skills to learn. So in the next year or so, I'm hoping to get a sort of sales role where I can increase my earning capacity as much as possible.
I see. Okay. And tell me, why are those your goals at the moment? Why those things?
Why those things? Just that belief inside of me that I was born to do something great, and I have that drive to do great things, and I want to live a great life. And there's no better. It could be in the company or my own, but I think in the short-term plan, I think I have to get a sales role, because if you look at any sort of company or business, the sales is the oxygen and the life of that business.
That's very true. Very true. Okay, look, Mohammed, I think that you're interesting, right, in the sense that you've got clearly a grand vision for yourself in your life. It sounds like you want to become wealthy. You want to earn really well, make a difference for your life, your family's life, and beyond. You feel like sales is the best skill set you can build to help you get there, but you're also thinking about starting your own business one day. Is that a fair capture of what I've heard so far?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Okay. Look, I think there's a couple of things that stand out for you, Mohammed. One is that you've got to now razor in on the market segment that you want to go after. You mentioned property, you mentioned Dubai, you mentioned a few other things that you're interested in. One of the threats to you right now is just focus, right? The reason I asked you about your plan and your vision, and the reason you took a second, you said, that's a good question, and you had to think about it. Now, I'm only saying that to you because I'd love for you to come away from this call and take the time so that the next time someone asks you that question, you don't have to think about it. You can look square in the face and say, I know exactly where I need to go, and I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm going after this career path. Here are my timelines. Here's where I'm going to be located. And then here's my plan of how I'm going to do it. And the reason you need to take the time to do that, Mohammed, is because that is going to breed confidence and conviction, which is something that's missing for you right now. And I can tell because your tonality and your voice, you have a belief, but you don't have the confidence and the conviction, and you don't have that because you haven't worked the plan out yet. So I need you to come away from this, work out the plan, your timelines, what you're going to do, why you want to do it, where's the big market opportunity. And then I can assure you, if we have this conversation again in 6 months' time, you'll be bursting on this call and you'll be confident and you'll be able to say, Alex, this is my vision. Do you see the difference in what I'm saying there?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Can you do that?
Yeah, so you think is have a long-term plan as well as some short-term plan as well, and somewhat like a roadmap or destination of where I want to go, and I have that clear in my mind.
Absolutely. You've got to create a compass for your life.
Yes.
When you pull it out your pocket, you can say, this is where I'm going, right? Right now, you don't have that. What you have is a load of different ideas and different things in your head. And you're saying to yourself, well, do I go left or do I go right? And so you need to take the time to say, right, well, the things I want from my life is wealth, optionality, freedom, help my family. Let's say those are the big 4 goals. You've then got to work that backwards. Well, if I need to have wealth, freedom, optionality, and to help my family, then I need to find a vehicle and a market and a segment that is highly lucrative. Maybe that is property, right? Great market. So then you say, okay, well, if it's property, then what route do I take? Am I going to join an estate agent, or am I going to join a private boutique company as a salesperson, or am I just going to get into property development, right? So what I'm saying is you've got to create a funnel of, where do I want to go? Where's the opportunity? What's the steps I need to take? What's the vehicle I need to be in? What's the support and the mentorship I need? And you've got to write it all down. And then every single day, you have to take big steps forward on the plan. And as I speak to you here today, Saturday, right? I started my day, just almost 6 a.m. But everything I've done today is a step forward on the plan. I don't have to wake up and think, do I need to go left or do I need to go right? And that's what I'm trying to move you away from. It's the inefficiency of decisions so that you have clarity in a plan, and then every day is about action.
Like, so have a plan for every single day and have a short-term and long-term plan and a clear destination in mind. Absolutely.
Yeah. Please keep me updated, Mohammed. Let me know how you get on with that. And I would love for us to speak again later in the year. And I want to hear that you've got your plan in place, you've made steps forward, you're in a role, and you're on attack mode every day. Have we got a deal?
Perfect. Can I ask you one more question, Alex?
Absolutely.
In terms of, like you said, I've got loads of ideas and stuff. How do you know when, for example, pursue an idea? Like, if you have loads of ideas, is it bad, or is it just always to focus on one thing at a time? Do you think that's bad to do loads of things at once, or just do one thing and do it while I spend all your time and energy on that one thing?
Well, if you think about your energy as, 100%, everything you choose to allocate any form of energy to drains the tank, right? You're putting a slice of cake somewhere else. So if you want to, run with 5 ideas at one time, then you're only ever going to be able to give 20% to each. If you run at one idea, you can give 100% to that one. And so I often encourage someone to first of all go narrow, then go wide. And what I mean by that is focus on one thing first, make your money, right? Become successful, then go wide, because you've already then built a foundation of success for yourself in your life. You'd have earned some money, built some wealth, you'd have built confidence in that process. And then you can start to try other things. But if you try and be a jack of all trades, you'll be a master of none. So take the time. There's nothing wrong with having a lot of ideas, but there is something wrong when you have so many ideas that it means that you procrastinate and you ruminate and you don't take action. So I'd love for you to funnel down, start with one, drive towards mastery in that thing, build wealth, then start to go wide afterwards. Make sense?
Makes sense. And what are the core markets that you're seeing with the right now on upward trend? Sales is one of them, but what sort of markets that you think people haven't really heard of yet, or sort of sectors or markets that are doing really, really well that maybe that I might not know of, but you have that you do know about? That makes sense?
Well, SaaS sales for me is always going to be number one because, uncapped potential, uncapped earning, and tech and software is always going to be the future. So for me, SaaS sales is always number one. Then it's really anything in tech. Tech and AI are hot right now, but they always will be because they're innovating for the future. And so if you can get yourself in any capacity aligned to tech, that to me is the best thing you can do. And if you really like property and real estate, then I'd join a tech real estate business. At least then you get the upside of both of those things at any one given time.
And how would someone like you who's got no experience make that entrance into the market? Is there kind of commission only, or how would I approach these companies and offer them so much value that if they say no, at least they feel stupid to say no to someone like me?
Well, put yourself in their shoes. They want a de-risk decision. So they want someone who's hungry, driven, ambitious, but has got some form of aptitude for the market they're in. So put yourself in their shoes, reach out to them and ask to speak to them. What is it that you look for? Why do you look for those things? How would you feel about someone like me? How would you scrutinize someone like me? Learn from the market that you want to get into, and then get a mentor who's in that space and can sponsor you into a role. I hope that's helpful, Mohammed. I've got to jump to the next call, but I really appreciate you reaching out. Was that helpful?
Really appreciate your help, Alex, and I'll keep you updated on over the next few months on how my life plans out.
Please do. It's a great pleasure, Mohammed. Have a great Saturday.
And you too, Alex. Thank you. Cheers. Bye.
Hi, Ayomide. Alex Elaine here.
Hi, Amelia. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Let me know if you're hoping I can be helpful, Ayomide.
I just called today to discuss the SaaS field, which is software as a use, just to talk about SaaS.
To talk about what, sorry?
SaaS, which is the SaaS field.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just looking to discuss what actually it is about, just to make inquiries, basically.
Okay. Well, I need something a little bit more than that in terms of a question or what you're seeking to know and understand.
Okay, so just a run through. I'm a business analyst, and one of my job responsibilities is actually to provide solutions. So I was just looking to see or discuss much more about what the SaaS field is about, and what type of solutions do you actually sell? Is it basically general solutions, or you sell software based just on the basis of what the company actually needs, or there is a specific software that you actually sell to companies, or do you sell to individuals as well?
Well, tell me first of all, Ayomide, where does your interest come from? So how have we gotten here?
Okay, yeah, so I am a business analyst, like I said, and my interest is providing solutions. So I want to be more than just providing solutions based on around the books. I want to be able to provide solutions based on my own knowledge that I've acquired from external factors like software sales, for instance, uploading software to my stakeholders as a solution, and that would initially transition me into consultancy, so I can always freelance and basically not have to work for a company.
Okay, so you're a business analyst now. You want to move away from that and be freelancing.
Yeah.
And why do you want to freelance?
Yeah, so I want to work for myself after a while, and working for myself, I want to move into consultancy. So I want to be consulted by companies to discuss basically what I already do as a business analyst for working on my own, because I want to be able to do things apart from work, focus on family, have time to create my own schedule and not work on the basis of my company schedule.
So what's stopping you becoming a business analyst freelancer now?
Basically, my experience is not so much. I actually just transitioned into business analysis less than a year ago. I was previously an IT support engineer, so I was just looking to see if there's something exceptional that I need to get done just to actually reach my goal faster, and
basically, I'm just trying to broaden my knowledge and understanding on working more than just for a company, like working for myself, like being my own boss.
It feels to me, Amy, that the first thing for you is to really take time to truly understand what it is that you want to do, where you want to go, because it feels like there's still some work to be done to figure that out. Starting a career in SaaS sales, what that can really do is breed incredible income, which over time then can then create freedom and optionality. But you're not going to be a freelancer in the near term. It's probably as close to it as you can get, in the sense that you are directly compensated based on the work and the results that you deliver. But if your goal in the near term is to have more time and freedom and space to spend with your family, then there's an argument that you should take the skill set that you've already built and start consulting with companies, right? Build your brand, create brand equity around yourself, create an audience, and then start to use that leverage, that IP, to then start to consult with companies. Because if that's what you want in the near term, that's really going to be your fastest route to that. And if you're consulting and charging day rates or hourly rates, that should give you a quick path to increase your income as well.
Yeah. Thank you. Basically, that is what I wanted to discuss about. I was just looking to understand what the SaaS sales really was about, and just to run through like a background. Like you said, I'm still like in the early stage of trying to develop my skill sets and actually place much more higher value on my understanding in terms of my career and in terms of self-development. So like I said, I recently just transitioned, and I'm trying to actually figure out what I want to be, because my statement of purpose is to become like a senior business analyst within the next 3 years, consulting with other firms. And I was actually looking into the direction of software sales. So that was why I actually registered for the free skill discussion when I saw it on LinkedIn.
I understand. Well, look, SaaS sales is the best space to be. There's no doubt about that. I've got a ton of content about it online. So check out the podcast, my newsletter. I talk a lot more about the space. And if you feel that, it's a space that you want to be in, then you can absolutely reach out and get involved. But I think there's two you should consider. There is the SaaS sales space. There's the consulting with your existing skill set as a business analyst. But I think before all of that, it's you just taking some time to really map out your goals, your plans, your vision for yourself, and which path best fits into that vision.
Yeah. Thank you. I think you say all. That was what I was looking to discuss basically, because before I actually map out whatever I want to do, I always create a statement of purpose. And one of the things in my statement of purpose is to understand the SaaS aspect. So I'll just take a look. I've been on your LinkedIn page for a while. I've been having like a ritual rundown. I was just this one when I saw the free skill set thing. That was what I decided to just have an understanding. But I'll just have a read through and just see if that is what I really want to do in the long term, and just probably reach out later on.
Absolutely. Well, look, all the best with everything. Have a great weekend. And as I say, all the best.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you now. Bye-bye. Hi, Nathaniel. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. You?
I'm doing very well. It's Alex Elaine here. Let me know how you're hoping I can be helpful.
Oh, I just wanted to find out a bit more about like what you do, because I've been seeing that you're into sales and stuff like that. I just wanted a bit more on the insight to positive mindset, and also whether
what the opportunities are in terms of like the field that you're in and stuff like that. Currently, I'm working 9 to 5 in one of the banks and in finance, and I'm getting married soon. I'm thinking, okay, what other ways can I? Because I can see my career or whatever it is, almost like a plateau now. I don't know what next to do. So I'm looking at what can I do that would, I can pivot quickly and, earn more money, stuff like that. So that's me.
First of all, congratulations on your upcoming wedding. That's very exciting.
Thank you.
So you say you feel like your career is at a plateau. Tell me more about why you feel that way.
Yeah, man. So basically, I'm working in as a VP in tax at Citibank, and I don't really see, so there's not much in terms of progression, and I kind of lack the energy to see how best I could even like what's the name I called if we say scale up means moving up the chain, but unless the next person up there is moving, not much you can do. And also like I'm looking at where the money is, because I'm spending the same effort, and I'm looking at where do I make the most, and I look at people in the actual mainstream, the investment banking and stuff like that, frontline client facing, and they make ridiculous amount of money. We pay their bonuses and stuff like that, and I just get a flat amount, and even the bonus is almost like non-existent. You get me? So I've been thinking, man, all these years trying to get to this position and stuff like that, but you get there and you're like, sudden things are changing. It's not just me, So I'm thinking, what next can I do? And yeah, for me, I'm more like a people's person and stuff. Like I can see myself like that, and I enjoy interacting with people and stuff like that. So I'm thinking, when I saw sales, I know this is a different type of sales. I don't know what it is. But I just saw, and I've been following you for a while now, been seeing you popping up here and there and stuff like that on LinkedIn and everywhere. So when I saw this on Instagram, I'm like, okay, let me just put in some time and see what this thing is all about.
I completely understand. Okay. And so you feel like you're a people's person. You feel like in your current role right now, but you feel like you're at a plateau, you're not getting a ton out of it, you're getting married, you want to double and increase your income. Is that true? What I've heard so far?
That's it, yeah, that's it. You got it.
Okay. Well, look, when we just zoom out a little bit here, and if you think of person A and person B, your person A, who I'm going to assume that you work hard, you put in a lot of hours, you're in finance and banking, and you're getting paid amount. Now you've got person.
I get paid what, Billy?
I said you get paid a good amount, a decent amount.
Yeah, I get paid a decent amount. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. And then you've got person B who has the same work ethic as you, is generally the same, as intellectually as intelligent as you, but they've chosen to put their same time, effort, energy, and resource into a sector and a vehicle where they get a better yield on their time. That's really the conversation we're having now. It's how do we take your effort, energy, and mind share and get you a better return on investment on every ounce of energy that you're willing to exert. And that's really why I got into SaaS sales, which is software as a service sales. And really it's being in tech sales. The reason for that is that there's no other market out there like it, where in terms of the pound for pound ROI on your time, effort, and energy return, SaaS gives the most compelling return on that time. I say that because, average earnings for someone in their first year might be around £80,000, but very quickly people get into the multi-six figures and even seven figures once you become a top tier prolific performer in the space. And so I get really passionate about it, because it's innovating for the future. Tech will always be here, and it really democratizes wealth in many ways. The main thing that you need to get in is, coaching, education, community, mentorship. So what you may have seen on my page is a link to SaaSshift.com, which is in essence our program that provides exactly that. It's not that you need to leverage us to do it, do your own research and your homework, but that hopefully gives you a bit more color around why we do what we do and why we're so passionate about SaaS space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Tell me, how else are you hoping I can be helpful here?
Yeah, I'm open to all the stuff that you're talking about, open to new ideas and stuff like that. I can see technology is the way forward, even in my space now, with all the, government legislation and tax and stuff like that, making stuff digital and stuff like that. But most corporations are looking into all these AIs, all these solutions that will help, them to be more efficient. So for me, yeah, as I said, I believe I always said to people that my labor should go to the highest bidder, not because currently I wouldn't say I really enjoy my job and stuff like that. So for me, I'm open to ideas and stuff. And if there's anything that you can offer to help me to get to where I am, where I want to get to, then yeah.
Well, let's do this. Visit SaaSshift.com. You'll see links on my Instagram, my LinkedIn, or just type SaaSshift.com, all as one word. Go through, fill in your details, and then we can schedule a more in-depth conversation, either with myself.
Sorry, what's the name of the thing? SaaS what?
SaaS Shift. So SaaS, and then your shift is SHIFT.
Yeah. Okay.
Visit that site, enter in your details. A member of the team will get it. And then
it's on the LinkedIn. Okay, I followed you. I'm going to your thing here. Okay.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. And then what's your background? Jamaican, African? Where? What's your background?
No, I'm Guyanese by heritage.
Okay.
Guyanese with some Bayesian. My great grandfather's from Barbados. So.
Oh, very good. Okay. How long have you been doing this for? Sorry, I know.
I've been in SaaS sales for 12 years, or just under 12 years, as a leader, first line, second line leader, about 9 years as a field salesperson. Check out my LinkedIn, type my name into LinkedIn.
Yeah, I think I followed you. I follow you on LinkedIn, so I'll look at it again.
Again, take a look and go on my website, alexelaine.com. I've got my story on there. So, do a bit more research through there. And all I will say to you is if you're looking for ROI on every hour of your time, there's no better space.
All right. Right.
Is that helpful?
That's good. That's good. Appreciate that.
Well, look, enjoy your Saturday. Great to speak, and I look forward to part 2 with you.
Thank you. Thanks for reaching out, and thank you for giving this conversation as well. Yeah. Have a good day. Cheers. Bye.
Bye-bye. How are you, Adonis?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Very well. Well, we've got 15 minutes, Adonis. So tell me about your story and how you're hoping I can be helpful.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Adonis. I have 2+ years of sales experience. I started off in insurance sales, and then in 2022, I moved into SaaS sales. I started off as a SMB account executive for a PLG company. I was their first sales hire, but then after like 3 months, they realized they didn't really need a salesperson. They didn't really need a sales team anymore. I think they hired 2 sales SMB AEs, then they just laid us off after. And then after that, I moved on to a company called Deal as an SDR. And recently, they got rid of most of their SMB SDR team and their mid-market, and they've only kept on a few reps, and they're literally hiring new reps. So what I wanted to get out of this call is 2 different things, stuff to do about career growth and mindset. As you can tell, I've already had like a rough start to like my sales career. So the first question I had for you was, what advice would you have for someone who wants to advance in their sales career after a layoff?
Interesting. It sounds like you have had a bit of a rough time. Tell me, Adonis, what are you striving towards in your life, personally and professionally?
Okay, so personally,
actually, no, professionally, I want to excel in my career. I want to be a top performer. I want to be someone who will become a leader. I'm an SDR, and I want to go to an AE role. I want to be a top performer as an individual contributor, and make as much money as possible within sales. And then personally, I want to be able to provide for my family, to do well, and be a good example to my brother, and also have a family one day who I'm able to provide for the best I can. So that's the two things in terms of personal and professional life.
The great point. And so you want to, in essence, unpack just some advice for how you can bounce back from going through a layoff, in essence.
Yeah, exactly.
Completely get you. The reason I asked you what it is, what type of vision you have for your future, and typically I'd spend a bit more time unpacking that with you, is because the first thing is you've got to have a compelling why. You've got to have something that's going to fuel you every single day, so that no matter what comes your way, you are mentally primed and ready to always play attack. The reality is that, you know, life is about a game of you focusing on the things within your sphere of control. And you allow your emotions to be dictated by things that are not within your sphere of control, you are constantly going to be on a roller coaster of emotions, because layoffs are out of your control. The way your manager treats you is out of your control. The decisions that everyone outside of yourself makes is out of your control. And so you've got to get to a point in your life where you hold yourself to your own standards, your own barometer of expectation, and anything that happens to you outside of that, you don't let define you. And so when you've got that mental fortitude, and then you've got a compelling why and a vision for the things that will fuel you, a layoff just becomes a stepping stone, a set of lessons and learnings that allow you to continue to propel forward.
Yeah, I agree. I think, that was very helpful, especially when you said around, things that are out of your control. And things which have happened to me are out of my control, really. So you're right. I need to bounce back and do things which are in my control to move forward.
Absolutely. You had a second question.
Yeah. So my second question was, in terms of getting back on the market now, I feel like, when I was at Deal, my manager left 2 months into my role, and we hadn't had a manager for like 7-8 months after that. And then the next month after the manager came, all the reps got laid off. So I don't think I've had like enough professional development to maybe move back into an SMB AE role. And I feel like I need to pay my dues as an SDR. One thing that I did notice is that I feel like I need to improve on things like cold calling, tonality, and things like that. I know a lot of people say it's about like volume, doing a lot of, volume with cold calls and things like that. But how do you think I can prepare myself before getting into my next role in terms of cold calling, in terms of like tonality, and just general like sales skills?
Yeah, so people will often say, as you say, that you need to get a high volume of activity, and that's definitely for good reason. But it's also important to remember that just simply getting the reps in, if they're not the right type of reps, is actually only encouraging and facilitating bad behaviors, right? Or behaviors that are not going to set you up for a sustainable future. So what I'd recommend is, first and foremost, mentorship. We kind of ban these words around mentorship, but you've got to find someone who has gone and walked the path that you want to walk and achieve the things that you want to achieve, who can guide you and help you to truly understand what it takes to be best in class in your field. Because your job is not to do 1,000 cold calls. Your job is to do 1,000 cold calls that are scrutinized, that are being interrogated and looked into by someone who knows what they're doing. And so you want to get a high volume of just best in class reps. So I would say get a mentor that is external to any company that you work for, that can really be with you and hold you to a standard. And then the second aspect, it is absolutely doing the work. Plus, if you got to see my phone, when I started as a BDR, SDR, you know, I had just an insane amount of voice recordings on my phone, and I still have now, because I would literally just sit there and do the calls and record them, and then I would video myself, watch it back, and I did so many. You know, people just wouldn't be able to keep up with the pace. So I would recommend combining the mentorship with the high output, and between those two things, you should find yourself continuing to learn, earn, and grow.
Okay. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So yeah, looking into getting a mentor and then reviewing my calls and just improving that way. And then what other question? Did I have any other question? Yeah, I think that's all I had. That's all I wanted to ask. And yeah, so as I said, like I'm back on the market. What do you think I can do to get back on the market as quick as possible? I want to go through interview processes. How can I like vet opportunities that come my way? So, for example, one of the companies that I'm in an interview process with is in the same industry as my previous company. So I'd probably want to stay in that industry, or maybe look if I do get the opportunity or move to other industries. But how can I vet like a good sales role to be in terms of being an SDR, like in terms of a sales role? Because you know, like not every sales role is the same in terms of the managers not being transparent in terms of their recipe and quota and things like that. So how can I really vet a company before actually joining?
What's your criteria for what you're looking for from your next move?
My criteria is that the product has like good product market fit, you know, reps are hitting quota, it's a evergreen product, so it's like a, you know, that customers must need it and things like that. I hope that makes sense.
It does make sense. The reason I asked you was because I wanted to see how fluid your response was. And the reason, what I can tell just from hearing your response is that you haven't spent enough time sitting down, truly working through your criteria for your next move. And I can tell from your response that you threw that answer together, right? Because those things are important to you, but you can't reel off, here are the 5 things that I need in my next move. And these are the 5 ways I'm going to go about establishing whether these companies have those things. And I say that, Adonis, because that is your next step. You need to go and find a company that's got a uncapped market potential, who's got a proven leadership team and a development track, right? Who are the initial ingredients, and then a culture that can foster and enable high performance and talent of your nature who's early in their career. But you want to sit and first of all say, right, this is my criteria. Then you've got to go and map out how are you going to evaluate against each of those things. So a big market opportunity, that's subjective, right? It means different things to different people. So you've got to understand, what does that mean to Adonis? And also, what does that mean in relation to the current state of the market? What does uncapped market opportunity actually mean, right? So you've got to take the time to do that type of research. Then you've got to say, right, now I understand what it is and what it means. How am I now going to evaluate that during an interview process? Is it a quick, easy question, or is there something more or less to it? So you've got to just take the time to work through those 2 things in stages.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, and that's fair enough. Yeah, because I don't know exactly what I want per se right now, and I do need to do the research. That makes sense.
Absolutely. You know, and Adonis, you've got a name that's destined for greatness. So I want a message from you in a few months where you tell me where you're at and what you're doing, because you got an incredible name and you've got to go out there and do some incredible things.
100%. I'm gonna connect with you on LinkedIn. I follow you, but I'm gonna connect with you. But thank you for the call today. I really appreciate it, and I will get back in touch with you for sure.
Absolutely. No, it was lovely to speak to you. Lovely to speak to you as well, Adonis. As I say, great name and destined for greatness. So go out and do some wonderful things. Thanks for scheduling the time.
Thank you so much, man. See ya.
Take care now. Bye bye.